Racism is the ugliest side of the beautiful game, but thanks to the work of charities like Show Racism the Red Card, the English game is mostly free of the prejudice which blighted the game back in the 1970s and 80s. While things have improved, there are incidents of racism that still occur in the modern game, which is why the charity has come to Emirates Stadium to educate local children about the issue.
It's about taking our anti-racist message to the young people in the borough of Islington. We're supported by the council here. Great support of the football club yet again. But making sure that young people are aware of the anti-racist message and they take it into the schools. I think it's vitally important, you know, if we're going to change attitudes, then you change attitudes at a young age, because that's when they're, you know, they're developing their own ideas. And, you know, young people, you know, nobody's born a racist, you learn racism. And we believe that you can learn to be an anti-racist. Over the years, we think a majority of people have come with us, but there's still a lot of work to do to fight racism.
One of the biggest factors behind Show Racism the Red Card's success is the involvement of footballers and celebrities from all ethnic backgrounds, who know all too well about the destructive nature of racism, both in and outside of the game.
I think it's very important. I've been involved for many years now. Show Racism Red Card is a very important component of football now. It's very important for people like me, players or athletes or comedians or actors or whatever, to get involved, because it affects everybody, all different backgrounds and zones in life.
I played at Arsenal in the mid-80s and early 90s. We've had a lot of black friends, David Rocastle, Paul Davis, and Davo used to tell me about the stick that he used to take in the early 80s. And I just don't think it's right that any human being has a right to put another human being down. You know, we're all different, but it doesn't make you better than anybody else. And I had a little bit of bullying when I was at school because I was ginger and I was different to other people, and they thought it was all right to pick on me. And the way I answered it was like fighting all the time, and that's not the way to do it. So it's trying to educate the children who are here that if you do hear any racist comments or someone's putting you down, go and speak to someone, speak to a teacher, speak to your mum or your dad, and get it out in the open, because a lot of racism is due to ignorance and fear, and that's what we've got to eradicate.
While not entirely stamped out, the English game has come a long way in combating racism, but there's still a lot more work to do to make sure it is an issue consigned to the past.
I think we're the trailblazers. If you look throughout Europe, a lot of other countries, especially the Eastern European countries, seem to have a high tolerance level, where we've got very low tolerance levels. And any form of racism, whether it be from crowds or it be from players, we don't want to go back to the 70s and 80s where it was acceptable. So the FA, the Premier League, English football in general can take a lot of credit, because we are one of the trailblazers.
Incidents may be few and far between these days, but a zero-tolerance approach is needed going forward. And in Sol Campbell's opinion, docking points for teams found in breach of the rules could make a statement which would help clean up the game further.
Once you start taking points away or wins away, then you start I think the people who are shouting their rubbish should start to wake up and realise we can't carry on like this, because our team's going to lose points or lose a cup or whatever. So there's food for thought. There's a lot of things you can do. Whether it's going to come in the next, say, 3-4 years is another thing. But I think points is definitely the way to start, for sure.
Big steps have been made, but the important work of Show Racism the Red Card goes on, because a moment of complacency could have serious repercussions.
Sometimes you have different cultures, sometimes there's an ignorance of other people's cultures, so maybe some players need to be educated that what's acceptable in one country isn't acceptable here. So I think that the way that the issue has been dealt with, and obviously the Luis Suarez case been very severely dealt with, has put a message out to anybody that it just won't be tolerated, whether you're on the pitch or whether you're watching.